Silver stacking really gets frustrating at times. And it's just funny because it's like you really want to put your effort into it. You really want to have passion about it. But it's just, at times it's really just discouraging. So, funny story. I've been monitoring the regular Bullion sites, JM Bullion, Hero Bullion, APMEX to see, what is it that I want to buy, with these falling silver spot prices. And of course, as we know, whenever prices jump up, prices online move in lockstep. There's no delay. They instantly jump up. But whenever spot price falls, it seems like there's a long lag time and this and that. And it's funny because, rational business thinking would think, okay, well, they're constantly buying, the bullion dealers are constantly buying at different price levels. So, of course, there's going to be a lag time between when they move inventory that they may have purchased at a higher price and, price comes in. New shipments come in and, there you go, lower price silver. Unfortunately, it never seems to work out like that. It seems like they keep the prices inflated with premiums, high premiums, until the next, whatever the next BS reason that silver spot price jumps up. But it's funny because I was looking at JM Bullion today, and I was like, you know what? I never check the deals or sales section because I'm like, is it really a deal? Come on, are they really looking to give me a deal, or are they just kind of like, trying to sell me something with the impression that it's a deal? So anyway, right off the top, I looked at the first page of the deal section or on sale section on JM Bullion, and I looked, and I was looking at it pretty quickly, and I looked and I said, does that say the Walker rounds, the Silvertown Walker rounds, for $4.99? And I'm like, wait, is that $4.99 over spot, or is that $4.99? So part of me was thinking right off the bat, like, oh, that's some kind of tech error on the website. And I'm like, maybe. So I keep looking at it, and I'm like, maybe it's one of those things where if you order it, like, they'll honor your order. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, that's definitely worth a shot. So I go ahead and start loading up the cart with 400 just to see if it would price out, at that amount. And it did, and I was like, wait, okay, something's wrong here. I was like, let me dive into the details of what I'm looking at here. And then I looked closer, and I was like, oh, it says 1/10 ounce silver. I was like, you jerks. I was like, why would you put that at the top? I was like, I know someone else is gonna make that mistake. Someone else is gonna see that and think it's 1 ounce rounds for that price. But I was like, damn, that's ultra discouraging. But it was just funny because it reminded me of this, age-old game that's been played, with the silver, spot price and actual bullion prices and the premiums. It's crazy because I've always found it very funny, like, anytime prices of anything jump up, the price that they sell it to the consumer goes through the roof quickly. But then, anytime that the price drops back down, especially pretty precipitously, where it's like it goes off a cliff. For example, things like lumber. Lumber last year had that big run up where it was just crazy. And good old Economic Ninja was out there saying, you're never going to see lumber prices go back down to where they were. This is it. This is the new reality, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, this guy. I watch Economic Ninja because, and he's got a few friends. Oh, God. What are their names? So he's got a few friends. There's Jeremiah Babe, who looks like a ex-con. Like, he looks like that guy, like, in high school or middle school that just kind of, like, a little weird, little by himself, just, out in the corner, had the torn backpack. That guy, Jeremiah Babe is that guy. But then he's, this guy lives, if you're familiar with California, this dude lives, in not the greatest part of town, out in the middle of nowhere. But he swears like he's like living in the, some type of affluent thing where he can talk down on others. Really funny guy. And the way that he speaks about, economic or finance topics, and I'm just like, wow, all right. Anyway, then there's another guy that hangs out with Ninja that Ninja's friends with. Of course, you surround yourself with the finest people. How many times have we heard that? But the other one is I Allege. And I Allege, this guy's whole thing on his YouTube channel is to go around and, like, find like homeless encampments here in California and then just talk about this is terrible, this is terrible. But it's funny, like, not that homeless problem, and things like that aren't real problems, but the great part about it is that he just literally exploits it for his channel, doesn't do anything about it, doesn't help him. He's not like, hey, let me get you some food or da da. Just walking directly by, homeless encampment tents and stuff, just like, look at these destitute people, look at that. And I'm like, wow. And him and Jeremiah Bobby are walking down the street. I'm like, you know what, you guys look like you live in the homeless encampment. Like, you guys look like you belong. It's pretty funny. But the other guy, I allege, the reason that's hilarious to me is because I allege when this guy talks on his channel, he literally sounds like the Penguin from, the 1990s Batman cartoon. It's comedy. I can't even, it's funny because I always do the voice in my head to myself. Batman, like that kind of thing. It's so hilarious. But anyway, yes, like, back to the subject. With regard to, silver bullion, it's crazy because, you see these quick rises and you would think that, these things apply to normal, business, right? If you're ordering things in advance and the price drops, well, I'm screwed because I have to hold on to it and sell it at a higher price until I get rid of it. And then once my inventory turns over, then I can go ahead and, take advantage of ordering at the lower prices. I mean, that's how it works, right? Just like any business. But the thing is, you never see that second part of the equation. You never see, especially post-pandemic, you never see, silver just back down, a few dollars over, like $1, $2, $3 over spot. It's always like 15% premiums, 20% premiums, which is just discouraging. And especially because there's such a huge lag time until, the bullion dealers, it seems like they've gotten into this game of kind of dragging out silver spot price or silver spot price and premiums until the next Fear and FOMO event comes along and drags price, right back up. And then they're like, oh, well, now we have to jack it up even further because, this and that is going on. It's just really discouraging. And you see that from a lot of stackers. You hear that a lot about that. It's just like, you end up getting screwed no matter how you play it. Now, a lot of stackers have dollar cost averaged over a long period of time, which is obviously a winning strategy. But again, like, it's just very discouraging because stacking is just one of those things where you start out so far underwater, 20-30% underwater. I mean, that's pretty tough to justify in anything, right? I mean, that's like buying a car and then trying to sell it, for a profit. Good luck with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. Now, again, there's just so many other facets to it, but with that whole JM Bullion thing, it really got me thinking about it. It's pretty funny. Anyway, in other news, like I was talking about yesterday, like that whole thing with Wagner and Russia, that wasn't. It's so funny. Anytime you talk about anything with Russia, there's always people who jump out like, no, the Western news media is trying to lie to you. Nothing's going on. No, it's all fake. I mean, yeah, okay, all right. Well, I mean, yeah. But it's funny because it's clearly something happened. If Vladimir Putin makes a speech about it and it's a big deal, this wasn't just something that was imagined on paper. Like, something clearly happened there. Now, to me, it looks like a failed coup. It looks like, Wagner basically started moving towards Moscow, apparently thinking that, the military or there'd be some defections and kind of broad support for it. And then when that didn't materialize, was able to come to the table and say, all right, I guess this isn't going to work. Let me bug out here to Belarus. It's also funny, though, that people are just like, this doesn't affect anything. This doesn't affect Putin. It absolutely affects things. I mean, Putin looks like a little bee, like, after that happened. I mean, you're going to let the guy that basically openly challenged, Russia with military conflict, just let him. You can go to the retirement home out in Belarus. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Let bygones be bygones. No, this is terrible for Vladimir Putin. It does not look good at all. Again, it's a controlled society, so everything that they hear there is completely controlled. Now, some of you are sitting there thinking everything that we hear here in the West is controlled to you. Good point. Good point. There's a lot of narratives here, right? So you got to be careful. But that's why you got to listen to everything. You also can't put yourself into your own echo chamber about anything. But it is really interesting. I'm going to be interested to see, how this affects commodities, because the common misconception with silver is that silver and gold, particularly gold, is that, in times of uncertainty, that there would be a flight to safety and that gold is going to protect you. Yeah, not so much. That may have been true at some point. But you know who does protect you during times of uncertainty? Good old dollar. The Dixie. Good old dollar does protect you. That's the flight to safety. Whether stackers like it or not, that is the truth. When uncertain times, people go right back to cash, whether you like it or not. But it's interesting. Again, I just want to see some price action. I want to see some moves on this silver spot price. With this big drop, I want to see it either keep going down so that premiums can start going down. It was funny because somebody was telling me in the comments about Tim from Yankee Stacking, that he was making wild claims that by the end of the year you weren't going to, or I think it was by the beginning of summer, he was saying that you weren't going to be able to get your hands on Constitutional, that it was going to be all gone, that you're not going to be able to buy it. That is a 100% bald-faced lie. Come on now. I mean, really, like, you think that if you don't have enough money, that people aren't going to sell you Constitutional? People are probably selling Constitutional hand over fist right now because they got raked over the coals at the peak because of things like, Stanky out there saying that Constitutional is the way to go, and it's going to be, you're not going to be able to get your hands on it. This whole idea of not getting your hands on silver or gold is ridiculous. But it's probably as old as time itself. I mean, right? There was probably some guy in the bazaar 2,000 years ago telling you better get your hands on gold and silver because you're not going to be able to get any. Anyway, it's a funny world, and I'm just here for it.